Hello, my name is Mariah Thomas, and the Harlem Renaissance writer I decided to do my exposition on is James Weldon Johnson. Are you recording? Yes, I am, Empress. Early life. James was born in 1871 in Jacksonville, Florida. His parents had always been free. His dad was a head waiter and his mother was a teacher who passed on her love of learning to him. James grew up in a broadly cultured and economically secure surroundings that were unusual among Southern black families at the time, and he also had a brother too that he worked with that I'll be talking about later on. Like I brought out in the beginning, he had a different background. He had like a kind of a privileged background for that time where he didn't have to deal with so many racial incidents. It wasn't until his college years that Johnson recalled in his autobiography Along This Way that he first became aware of the depth of the racial problem in the United States. Race questions were vigorously debated on campus, and his experience teaching black school children in a poor district of rural Georgia during 2 summers deeply impressed him with the need to improve the life of his people. In fact, something I'll be talking about later is while he was in 1901, while he was in Jacksonville, the mounting incidents of racism, that made him set out for New York with his brother, and that's how they ended up composing songs for Broadway. Key figure of the Harlem Renaissance, James Weldon Johnson was a man of many talents. He was a distinguished lawyer. In fact, he got a white lawyer to teach it to him, and that's how he began to practice law. And a diplomat who served as an executive secretary at the NAACP for a decade, and a composer who wrote the lyrics for Lift Every Voice and Sing, and that's known as the National Black Anthem. And I did not know that he wrote the National Black Anthem. I thought that was pretty cool and neat because it's something that you always hear as a child. Especially during Black History Month, they always play the National Black Anthem, and so it's a song that I'm familiar with, but I'm not familiar with the author, and I didn't become familiar with until reading about him. One part of his career that I wanted to hit on was about how in 1901, when he set out for New York with his brother, and they were writing songs for the musical theater. One problem that he and his brother had was that a lot of the white audiences, they wanted to see a black they back then people like to see exploitative minstrel shows that depicted black people as slow or dim-witted. That was, a lot of white audience, they liked that. That was entertainment for them. But the Johnson brothers and Cole, who they also worked with, they tried not to show that as much. They didn't want to. They wanted to show black people in a better light, but at the time they had to kind of still show stereotyped images of rural black life to suit the white audience at that time. So that was something that caught my attention too about him. That he didn't want to do it, but at the end of the day, he still had to give into that a little bit. The poem I picked out was actually like a song. It's Lift Every Voice. I didn't do the whole song because it's very long. So I just did like the first stanza that I'm going to say. And it's Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound as loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Another part about Johnson I thought was interesting, that he believed that Black Americans should produce great literature and art in order to demonstrate their equalities to whites in terms of intellect and creativity. So that was what he believed. That's what he believed, and he did produce a lot. Like I said, over 200 songs for Broadway that he produced, and He did a lot of teaching over the years, and he had a paper that he published, and it didn't last long due to lack of reading, but it did catch the attention of W.E.B. Du Bois. So I thought that was interesting too, and I just learned a lot by reading about him, and it was just good to learn, and I felt really inspired myself. It makes you, and even though I'm not a writer, it makes me kind of want to dig more into my writing. Thank you.